O'Neal.
It's not bad. It's about when he goes back to WCW. They also spend the first 15 minutes discussing college football, which really resonated with me because we do that. But yeah, no, it's not bad. It's good stuff.
Yeah. You both did that on the Late Night Grin last Friday.
We
Yeah,
did.
how was that? Myself,
fun.
O'Neal, and Oracle talking about the college football after you cowards left us.
Oh, bro, I was in such a bad way, man. I kept turning my camera off so I could blow my nose. Cause I didn't want to, I don't want people to be talking and everyone just looks at me while I'm fucking got shit coming out my nose. So I kept doing that, and it got to a point I just had to just get up and just walk out, and I just stood outside for 5 minutes, and just let myself breathe without feeling like I was gonna have a heart attack. It was terrible. I mean, we had some good conversation along the way, but that was a shame. I'm looking forward to redeeming myself this Friday because I feel a little bit better now. So
I came on the show and I was hoping that I was gonna get to talk to everybody, and then 10 minutes because I came on at 2 hour mark. It's like, oh, you guys are still going another 2 hours. And 10
that's
minutes
when we
later,
were going to be gone. We were going to do 2 hours and go. That's what we said on the show.
Oh.
Which would have been even funnier if you just showed up and we just were not there.
Yeah, and you guys are just gone. I would have been a little like, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah, that would have been something. So anyway, people are here apparently. So Bob,
I
tell
don't
the people what
believe
you're
it.
doing.
Send super chats if you're actually here.
Bob, you got a big shout that you're reviewing 2 pay-per-views, right?
Yeah, we're reviewing WarGames and Hard Times 2.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of this, so
You didn't watch any of it?
No.
Yeah, I watched one of those shows, and I didn't even watch AAA. I was going to watch AAA, but I was watching the Michigan Wolverines win the Big Ten title.
Wait, Jeremy, didn't you watch the NWA show? Didn't you tweet about it?
Yeah, I watched it live. I fell asleep during the main event of WarGames. I rewatched it this morning, so I have seen it, but I was so exhausted from this week, and I hit a mental wall yesterday, and I fell asleep during the middle of it. Well, not even the middle of it, the very beginning. I didn't make it past the first 5 minutes of Gargano and Carmelo.
These things happen in MMA. Bob, how many notes have you got for today's show?
We're just going to kind of freestyle it a little bit.
Okay. Do we have anything to take care of, or should we let Bob get straight into NXT WarGames? What do we think, Jeremy?
Let's get NWA Hard Times out of the way because that's what the people are really here for anyway.
That seems like a bad idea.
You want to start with WarGames?
Feels like we should start. I mean, look, I don't make plays for views, but I was looking around for takes on this pay-per-view today after I watched it, and it appears that no one else in the world watched this show, so it feels like we should probably lead with WarGames. That's my take.
Fine. We'll lead with WarGames. It happened. Good show.
Okay.
Let's talk about NWA Hard Times.
Bob, this is a big moment for Bob, man. Let him shine, okay?
All right. Fine. O'Neal, what do you think of Denise Salcedo's appearance on the NXT WarGames pre-show?
I thought it was very good. I think she did a really good job there. Saturday caused a lot of controversy, and it seems like it was kind of for nothing because she was very good.
Shocker.
I mean, look, I'll be honest, you guys. I wasn't involved in the discourse, but I'm glad it happened exclusively. So I got that tweet from Bix where he told brother.
Yeah,
that's one of the funniest things I've ever read in my life. So that's my only comment on the matter. That was incredible. So there you go.
You ever been starstruck, Joseph? You're gonna be starstruck when you actually meet O'Neal. You're just gonna be like, it's actual real Bob O'Neal.
Violently dunked on and then being like, man, I'm a big fan of yours. Bless. Just bless. Twitter can be a beautiful thing sometimes. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. Bob, we got some super chats, Jeremy.
There we go.
Super chats.
Look at our guy Drew. Says, I'm here while I'm working. First official Bobber chat. It was a great week for you guys. And JJ says, hello, my favorite big stars. Hope you're doing well. Bob explain how taking dumps is part of developmental. What is this? So I saw this on Twitter, but if you have the ad version of Peacock, you just get you get ads. So I didn't see what this actually was.
Well, you know how at Survivor Series they did the Lashley thing and it felt really weird and out of place?
Yes.
So they did that, except it was with Ike Manjiro ordering a bunch of food and then shitting. which was also very out of place. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. Like, they should probably make those make a little more sense if they are going to insist on showing them.
There was a lot of vignettes on that show, man. There was like
and some of them were like, oh, here's some of our new characters coming in case you're watching for the first time, which I get that. Like, that's a smart play. You can argue that no one's actually watching for the first time, but it's a smart play just in case. But yeah, this one just very strange.
In all seriousness, JJ is obviously having some fun, but there is 100% truth to JJ's core message, which is that if that aired on Impact Wrestling, every single one of my mutuals would have quote tweet dunked it, and all of those mutuals did not quote tweet dunk this to be on NXT Takeover. NXT WarGames, I should say. So there is a big I don't know, Bob. There's a lot of people that dunk on folks watching other wrestling that still watch this show, and I mean that's fine and all, but it is what it is.
Are you worried that people aren't keeping the same energy?
That's what I'm always worried about, because that's my middle name, as you know. My middle name's. First match. Are we done the Super Chats, Jeremy? I don't want to miss, because the Super Chats are a big part of this show now. I don't want to miss them.
Cody says the Steiner Kid rules. Have him win the Rumble.
Yeah. He ain't kidding. We'll get to that. First match was the Women's War Games. Toxic Attraction and Dakota Kai versus Raquel Gonzalez, Cora Jade, Io Shirai, and
the Kaylee Ray.
Of course, my bad. Kaylee Ray, great. I watched this match, Bob. Take the lead.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, it was like, I think they're bringing too many weapons in. I don't really like that for WarGames. And people will be like, oh, well, it's a violent match and they don't have blood. And I get that, but I don't know, like, just a personal preference thing. But the match itself, I did really kind of enjoy it. I think they did a good job getting Cora Jade over and really kind of positioning her as a top, person in that division, because we don't know how much longer Io is going to be there. And, the women's division is kind of up for grabs. So it's like, for Cora Jade to come out and have that performance, she did dive off the top of the cage. She got the pinfall. I think that was a very good decision. Yeah, so,
I mean, look, the War Games thing is what it is. At some point, I just accepted that that's just how they do War Games. They're never going to, and honestly, there's a real argument that the modern fan prefers it. So I'm not even saying it's objectively bad. It's always going to make me roll my eyes when dudes go under the ring before they get in there. It's frustrating. The men's match, which I thought was great, they had 12 tables in there, man. There's just no need for it to me, but that's what they do, so whatever. This was interesting in that often, especially nowadays, we're used to booking, handicapping great performances. To me, this was the inverse of that, where I thought the work was, hit or miss. I didn't think it was particularly good, but they committed to Cora Jade being the story, and it worked, and she got over huge in victory, I thought. She sold great. She had a star performance. And this was smart, I thought. They used the injury thing to counteract the fact that the babyfaces had the numbers advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was smart. It was really well agented. I mean, again, the stuff you roll your eyes at in terms of the weaponry, but I thought mechanically, the work was kind of shaky, but it actually achieved something. They picked someone and they got them over. I can't really be too critical of it. Jeremy, what about you?
I was very skeptical when the baby faces won the advantage in this match, and I was like, "Oh, how's that going to work?" Because we've seen it before. They tried, Russo tried it in TNA or something, right? Or WCW, and it was and it was a disaster. Of course, they had no thought on it, and then so when they won the advantage, it's like, all right, well, we'll see. Like you said, Joseph, the way they kind of got around that was they kind of injured Cora Jade, and so the heels still sort of had the advantage throughout with the numbers. They had a mission to get Cora Jade over, and that's what they did. She came out of this looking like a bigger star. Now, of course, you've got to follow up with it and do something with her that makes all of this worthwhile. They did this last year with Raquel. Their mission last year was to get Raquel over in the match, and then they actually did follow up by putting the belt on her a couple months later. And then Raquel's run was what it was, and she was still in this match here. I don't think you're going to put the belt on Cora Jade at this point. but I do think you've got to give her a pretty high-profile feud, and then off of that, you've got to continue to build something with her, because the goal was to get her over. They did that. They highlighted her. They spotlighted her, and now we will see what they do in the follow-up. I thought the finish with a roll-up finish in WarGames was sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit flat. Yeah,
Yeah, like what are you gonna do? But I thought it was a fine match. With hold on.
you good. Bob, what do you think the end game is for the Toxic Attraction Act? Like, it feels like a main roster act, right? So do you do like this reign? You do a cycle, and then you just bring Mandy back up with this act? Is that what you think they do?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we've kind of talked about this a little bit in the past too. Like, is Mandy really going to be any different on the main roster having this run? And I don't think so personally. But I guess if you bring all three of them up, then that's something. But yeah, I mean, I guess the end game would be to get him back to the main roster. I just don't know necessarily how well.
Oh my God, is Bob froze for you too, Jeremy? Oh no, now I'm doing a solo show. This is bad. Well, anyway, Bob's frozen. Jeremy has left the program. This is NXT WarGames, folks. Should I just proceed, or should I wait for the family to return? Seems bad. If you're in the chat, can you please tell me that I'm definitely doing a solo show right now, so I don't like. Yeah, okay, good. Definitely doing a solo show. So, yeah, to just follow up on that. I think like it feels like Mandy being an NXT life wouldn't make much sense. That's the kind of thing they're trying to get away from with this version of NXT. So I assume she'll go back sooner than later, and how that goes, we shall see. It's a nice act for sure, but yeah, I don't know about the ceiling. I have to be honest. I don't disagree with Bob necessarily. Okay, well, I guess we'll just move on. Fuck it. Up next. Yeah, Jeremy's doing work, I believe, guys. He's not. What's going on here,
Apologies,
guys?
Joseph. I muted.
I just did a solo show.
There we go.
I was just on my own there, guys.
My bad.
Did you guys not learn anything from fucking WarGames? Good Lord, man. Okay, anything else on WarGames, the women's match?
So Cora Jade brought like a satchel with her that I thought had thumbtacks in it, and then they just never used it, which was a bummer.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Who cares?
But no, overall though, yeah, I think it's a good decision. I think you got to just follow up on having her win now and just keep going forward with it.
Bob, the internet, very sad.
I know.
Shades of young Joe Hulbert. Okay, tag titles: Imperium, Kyle O'Reilly, and Von Wagner. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This was probably my favorite match of the night, personally. Imperium are a really great team. Fabian Eichner is just tremendous, has been for some time. Glad this act has kind of, let him show that last couple of years. Von Wagner, big athlete, good look. I get why they like him. Long way to go for this young fella. I mean, he's very awkward right now. His movement, very jittery. And there's, I assume he's very inexperienced. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
Kyle O'Reilly obviously was great. He showed out. And him and Eichner stole the show. Their interactions, I thought, were fabulous. So, a very, very good match, I thought. Bob, were you?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I do agree with Von Wagner. He's got a little bit of work to do, but I think the other three kind of did a good job protecting him in this match where he didn't look entirely out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if this is it for Kyle, I know he's got the cage match tomorrow, but if this is like his last big match, it's a great way to go out, man. He really brought it.
Yeah, I mean, the angle afterwards was fascinating in many ways because they obviously went with some like work to shoot element with him doing the Undisputed Era thing, right? Which was interesting. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think we all kind of collectively agree that Kyle's done, right? This is going to be his last match is going to be on Tuesday, and that's fine. He had a hell of a run. I think he's the biggest victim of all of the 2.0 change because he was probably going to win the title. If not,
Yeah.
I don't think he was, I don't think that run was working anyway. So I'm not here telling you that was like we lost out. It is a shame though. He'll be an interesting one to watch if and when he does leave. He's certainly a guy that you could never accuse of wasting your time once the bell rang, though. I mean, this was a fitting last takeover match for him. If it was that, if it is takeover, whatever you want to call this thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob. What did you say? Sorry.
No, I mean, it just, like I said, I'm glad he got to go out that way. And, like, the angle at the end made more sense after they announced that they were going to have a match on Tuesday because I thought, Kyle's just done and they just did that and that was weird. But, yeah, put him over in the cage and go from there.
Jeremy, any thoughts on the tag title match?
It was good, and it was not quite a throwback to remember when like every takeover would open with like a banger tag team title match. Like obviously this didn't open, but it felt like the first good tag team title match in forever on an NXT show. Maybe because they haven't had one since August. I'm just misremembering, and maybe there was like a great match in August with like MSK, but I just can't. Yeah, now that I say MSK, I'm sure there was like a great MSK match, but it's been so long since we've had like an NXT special that I just couldn't remember it. But yeah, it was a good match, and the outcome was to be expected. And then the post-match angle, the post-match angle was really well done. And then they set up the cage match for O'Reilly's Swan Song, which we all assume anyway on Tuesday.
Absolutely. I'm intrigued by what they do with Von Wagner. I'm not doing that as a bit. I am intrigued. I enjoy watching them try to develop guys, for better or worse. They're not very good at it in recent years, but I think they can, he's a guy that didn't, how do I put this? He's a guy that doesn't show much personality on the surface, it's fair to say. So they're going to have to kind of try and figure out who he is and what kind of energy he's going to give up, because he's a big athlete, but, with the way they do TV, that's only going to get you so far, especially there. So it'll be interesting. I assume he's going to be a heel moving forward. Is that what you would say, Bob, after this angle?
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know.
Babyface?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be a heel. I mean, maybe. Otherwise, like, why would you do this type of thing? Remember when he was on, probably not, you probably don't, Joseph, but O'Neal, remember when he was on Raw for like 2 seconds, or maybe it was SmackDown as like...
Yeah, it was Adam Pearce's bodyguard or whatever, and they never followed up on it.
Right. Like, I don't know. I really don't know like what they're going to do with Von Wagner. That's why, like you, Joseph, I'm intrigued as to what's next. Like, this was clearly a design of like, hey, let's turn him heel. But in their minds, they might think that he's turning on O'Reilly and it's going to make him a bigger baby face because they don't fucking know what Kyle O'Reilly is because he's leaving anyway. So I don't know if he's going to be a heel or a baby face moving forward, honestly.
That's fair. I'm just looking here. He has been signed since, good Lord, he debuted in May 2019. Yeah, this is where I kind of question there. Well, I suppose the pandemic. Never mind, ignore me. Pandemic hurt. Obviously, there was no house shows, but still, it's a long time. Anyway, moving on. Hair versus hair. Duke Hudson, Cameron Grimes. This was a match, right, Bob? They did a match.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. I mean, like it's weird when the guys with the shorter hair lose those matches, but ultimately
cut Grimes' hair though, some, right?
That's true. That's a good point. Hair versus hair matches kind of they are. I like Cameron Grimes quite a bit still.
Me too.
I do too.
I would like him to kind of be in something a little bit better than this going forward, and we'll see.
He can really sell. Hudson remains one of the big, I feel like there's something there and I haven't quite figured it out yet. I don't think they have either. I think there's definitely like a weird charisma to that dude. There's something funny about him. But their presentation doesn't seem to tap into that particularly well from what I've seen whilst we're in the video package anyway. So he's an interesting one too. Big guy, obviously, good look, but comes across a little bit generic on their TV, which I think is something they need to figure out. The match felt a little bit like a TV match. could have done with some desperation and some intensity, considering it was, hair versus hair, but whatever. It was fine. Jeremy, anything on hair versus hair?
Oh, it was there. I thought this was another one where like a finish. Why are you going to do that finish and then have the guy get laid out afterwards with the stomp to make him out cold so you can cut his hair? Just like do that in the match. Like stop with these roll up finishes to protect the wrestler and then like still lay them out afterwards or whatever. It's just dumb. Just have them win clean. You don't need to do a roll up with holding the tights and everything. Just do a clean victory. As far as Duke Hudson goes, like because I don't watch NXT 2.0, so I didn't know much about this poker thing. Like this gimmick kind of pops me.
Yeah. The one segment they did where they were like playing poker in the ring was pretty entertaining.
Yeah. I should maybe watch it. I probably never will, but like through the video package when they were showing that, I was like, man, as someone who grew up watching like the World Series of Poker stuff, like just tremendous stuff. So like, I'm never going to watch NXT 2.0 again, but I'll pretend that I like Duke Hudson and his gimmick.
Good. I appreciate it. I always respect a good bit.
What a shitty poker player, though, to just get bluffed by Cameron Grimes.
Well, that's the bit. Yeah, that's the bit. That's good.
Yeah,
I mean,
he said
he's
good. He says he's the world champion and everything. And
well, he's a heel.
Bluffed.
He's like Double J not being the real singer, saying that. They only did that when he left, actually. That's a bad comparison. Anyway, Cruiserweight title, kind of Cruiserweight, not really title. Roddy Strong, Joe Gacy. Genuine question, not doing a bit. Who was the babyface? Because I assumed it was Joe Gacy, and then I watched the video package, and my brain nearly exploded. I had no fucking clue. What is happening? Who is the babyface here?
Yeah, I mean,
it's 100% Roderick Strong.
Yeah, I thought it was Gacy too. I think the Diamond Mine people just don't really have alignment. They're just kind of badasses. And that's kind of the story they go with there. But yeah,
in the crowd. Go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
Well, like, kind of to build the match like they did and then not have Joe Gacy win, which I'm fine with it. I like Roddy Strong not as much as you do, but I like him quite a bit. And it's just kind of strange to have that whole build and then just have him win.
I mean,
it's fine.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you, but I think any time Roderick Strong beats Joe Gacy, it can't be considered strange. It's probably balance of the world. And Joe's good. Joe Gacy's fine. He's a good professional wrestler, and he's trying his best for this gimmick. It looks like something I would absolutely fucking hate, but that's not his fault. He's trying his best. Like, it is what it is. The match
sucked.
No, it didn't suck. It did not. That's complete rubbish. They worked a match without any real structure because there was no baby face. And they hit each other pretty hard, but there was no meaning to any of it because no one cared. Because what was the stakes was the Cruiserweight title, which everyone, that belt means nothing, unfortunately. Roddy's trying his best with it, but if he's going to wrestle a guy that isn't 205, it's pointless. The match was at its best when Roddy was kicking the shit out of him, but unfortunately, the crowd wanted to cheer Roddy. So, it was a complete clash. It didn't suck. I think that's silly, but it was fine. Is what I would say.
Look,
again, it felt like a TV.
Obviously, I'm being hyperbolic that it sucked, but I did not care for this match. Like it was the worst thing on the show. Remember when you said like you have a bad match with Roderick Strong? Says something about you. Like, I don't think this match was like bad, but for a Roderick Strong match, it certainly wasn't good. And
I don't know.
I didn't like this match. I didn't think it was good at all. Yeah, there you go, Montel. JoJo mental gymnastics. It didn't suck. It wasn't good, Joseph. It wasn't good.
How long did they get? Because I found it to be an easier watch than the match before.
I mean, they didn't get long or anything, but it's still. It took forever. The dynamic wasn't good. No one cared about Joe Gacy. It went 8 minutes. It felt like it went about 12.
I'll be honest with you. My generosity is not aimed at Roddy Strong. It's aimed more at the guy who's wrestling because I like Joe Gacy and I kind of feel bad for him because I just think this is one of those gimmicks that will vanish and it'll be like one of those what culture videos in 10 years. Remember when they went after the blokes? you know. And like, I think he's good. Like, I think there's a role for him, you know. And I thought he was pretty good here. Again, if there was a babyface, it would have helped. But like, maybe it did suck. I thought it was fine, personally. I don't know.
I thought it sucked.
Bob, did it suck?
I mean, it was short where, like, I don't really have a concrete opinion on. The only thing I really remember was, like, Ivy Nile getting picked up by the big bald dude, and Joe Gacy telling him to put her down.
Big bald dude. Like, you don't know his name. O'Neal dunks on him every chance he can get.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, no, I mean, I don't know. It was fine. Like I said, I don't remember a ton of it. It looks like it was only like 8 minutes, so.
8 minutes.
Yeah.
Jeremy, this was fine.
It felt like 12.
Okay, chat. Star ratings in the chat. I'm going 2 3/4.
2 3/4. That's shit for a Roderick Strong match.
I'm going on Grapple right now. I'm rating this 2 3/4.
It got what does it have on Grapple?
I don't know. I'm going to find out.
It's got a 4.82 on Cage Match.
Holy shit! Really?
Yeah.
Fuck! Maybe it was bad.
Dude, this match was not good, Joseph.
Okay, it's got a 2.65 on Grapple.
I think.
Good lord, there's ones in the chat. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It wasn't good.
I didn't say it was good. I said it was fine. Okay, so it was fine. It was okay.
Like fine is just you being generous because Roderick Strong is involved. That's all it is.
I mean, the chat is divided here. You know, there's a lot. There's some 2.5s. You know, JJ is rating an AJ Styles match. Don't know why.
Does he smartly watch Roderick Strong and AJ Styles instead of this match?
I thought it was fine. I'm happy for Roddy that this act is rolling along. I think he's probably going to, you know, I'm very alarmed by that promo where he said big match on Tuesday. Because that seems like he's going to lose the title on Tuesday. Look, I'll be real, and people like doing a bit about it, and I've definitely made a show of it on the Late Night Grin especially. I've said some interesting things. But Bob knows what I'm referencing now. I'm going to leave it at that, because if I say it on here, that'd be very bad. I think it's good for Roddy that he's in this role, and if it's the role he wants to do, I think, you know, all hell. I don't really see him the same way I see some of these other guys that are wasting their... I mean, to me, it's like he really wanted to be there for a long, long time. He got there, and, you know, if he wants to stay there, then God bless. I mean, he isn't a caricature yet, right? He's still Roddy Strong. So as long as he's not, like, you know, eating stuff and taking a shit on pay-per-view, I think I can live with the Diamond Mine, which I think is a good act. So there you go. Okay, moving on. Main event. Oh, we're at the main event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
WarGames, the black and gold team of Gargano, Ciampa, LA Knight, and Pete Dunne versus the new team of Carmelo Hayes, Bron Breakker, and
Tony D'Angelo,
and someone else.
Grayson
Waller.
Grayson Waller. Bob, your thoughts?
I think it was good. I think they went a little bit too long, as they tend to do with the men's WarGames matches. But overall, I enjoyed it. You know, Gargano coming out to his old music was a nice touch in case, you know, he's not going to be around anymore. It's cool. I liked his gear. You know, just more than anything, just focusing on Bron Breakker, where he's clearly going to be the guy. They seem to know that. He seems to be, you know, coming along in the ring as he should be. And, you know, just like the first match, you know, he was able to get the pinfall, and he's clearly the guy that they're going to get behind. So that's the right decision.
Yeah, this was, I think this was very good. Again, for a WWE WarGames match. What is Grayson Waller's gimmick? Is he the one that was dressed like a shooter? He has, like, trunks on, like he's boxing.
Yeah.
What does he... Because they kept saying he wants to go viral. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm not...
Joseph, I don't watch the program. I don't
Well,
know. I thought he was...
Yeah, I don't really watch the weekly television.
I thought he was just Australian. I thought that was his gimmick. Just guy with an accent.
Why didn't Bron Breakker break the door off instead
Yeah,
of...
that was
embarrassing.
That got weird for a minute.
Yeah.
Because I thought he
him
was
struggling with
Yeah.
the bolt cutters wasn't a good look.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean he's the guy. Again, I probably wouldn't have had him lose to Champ at Halloween Havoc. Probably would have had someone else do that, but they've built him back up. So
What else do I have here? I like the old lad conference, and when usually in NXT WarGames they do the thing where both teams go to one side of the ring each.
Yeah.
In this, the opposite, where the old lads all came together and were like, "Let's fucking beat these dipshits up." That ruled. I like that. Pete Dunne still has the worst punches in professional wrestling. Please God, can someone just teach me how for a fucking punch? How long do we have to wait for this? He's such a good professional wrestler. He still can't throw a right hand. Pete. Go and ask someone. Ask Matt Bloom for a like. I don't care. Ask Roddy. I don't care. Just throw a punch. Other than that, I have very little negative to say. LA Knight, I'm sorry. I'm coming back for receipts on this. You guys slandered this dude so much when he came in. He is a good professional wrestler. He can talk. His work is fine. He has been a victim of an industry that stopped liking promo guys. And it's a shame because he's now too old to really get a shot at it. He's good, man.
Is he a promo guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is, man. The promo he cut on YouTube was very good on Tuesday.
I thought it was fine. I don't know if it was very good. It was the Roderick Strong, Joe Gacy of promo.
I think he's a good professional wrestler who does good professional wrestling things. He can shoot an angle for you, cut promo, he can have a nice little match. He's good, man. There's a role for him. He should be on the main roster. Like, clearly. I don't understand why he's not on the main roster. Who else? Gargano was great, obviously. There's a lot to say about Gargano. Ciampa, Bron Breakker getting the pin on him is interesting. Obviously, the belt's headed his way. Honestly, I would just forego that and fucking have him win the Rumble. Bron Breakker's...
Yeah.
He's got something, man. There's something to be said for that dude. There's an energy to him, and the more you kind of, I don't know, you don't want to wait around too much, I think.
No,
go ahead, Bob.
Well, it's interesting, when we were doing the Brock and Time stuff, kind of watching that ascent to when he faced The Rock, we're like, they probably can't do this with anyone else. They're not going to have that lightning in the bottle situation. I don't think this is, I don't know that Bron Breakker can come up and just run through everybody, but they definitely have enough people. It would be something that people aren't expecting. It could get people, engaged again. I would consider it, man.
Yeah, I just, I think there's a real place right now in the promotion for a hot baby face that's brand new, and the people haven't seen get the shit kicked out of them every week. And Bron's got that. I'll be honest, I don't have much faith in that because they like the guys to show range, which basically means act like a buffoon on television. So that would probably go poorly, but a competent booker would make some real money with Bron Breakker or Rex Steiner, whatever they would call him. Anything else in this match? I'm trying to rack my brain. Because again, the problem with these matches is just so much happens. By the end of it, it's like, I don't know, man, just shoot one of them. I mean, it just goes on, and there's no, there's all these, and it's like, it's so hard for me because I can't, in good faith, dunk on it. Because they're working so hard, they're doing, diving through a table off the top of the cage. To me, it's not WarGames, so it's really difficult. At least there was some sense of story and emotion to this. I think it's a real problem where they run these shows. And I saw a lot of people tweeting, go on the road. And it's like, I don't think they're going to be selling many tickets on the road. So I don't know what that even means. Like, you want them to tour every week with their TV? Good luck.
I don't think you can go on the road as a weekly program. I do think, kind of like they used to do.
Takeover.
Yeah, you can do the takeover before or after, since now a lot of WWE pay-per-views are running on Saturdays. But you can do it piggybacking off of the WWE weekend and just running a smaller venue, and I think you'll be okay. With this particular show, maybe not, because I don't know, NXT 2.0 just kind of is what it is at this point. But the problem is they haven't done a non-takeover or a on the road takeover since when? Obviously before the pandemic, it's certainly
it was WarGames in Chicago, because the Rumble in 2020 they did the Worlds Collide. special take
My God, Bob.
Neil's internet, my God.
over.
Look at Bob's mouth. Just moved on through 5 minutes.
Okay, so 2019 WarGames in Chicago. So that was when they were like also pushing the NXT brand against. Okay, so they really haven't done much since AEW's been kicking the shit out of them and kicked them off of Wednesday nights. I don't know how that brand draws like on the road, even for like special event. You could probably run like a small like college arena or something like that, and you can probably put some people in the building. But I just don't know what the drawing power of that brand is if you try to do like a special event on the road.
I actually think people will be shocked how poorly those shows would go. Like, you look around the industry right now, outside of them top two in GCW, which is hilarious because the other pros have TV, but like they ain't exactly selling many tickets. I mean, Colt Bauer's selling. He sold 60,000 tickets in Mexico City last week. So other than him, obviously, because he's doing it. But yeah, it's interesting. But the point I was going to get to was whatever they can or can't do, they probably need to leave Florida because unfortunately this crowd just likes the old NXT guys.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I didn't like the show the last couple of years, so I'm not here to say that's they're right or wrong for that. But like, if you don't get why they have a connection to Gargano rather than Tony D'Angelo or whoever, he's not even a good example because he's over. But Grayson Waller, it just is what it is. You can't retrain people like that. Even in the last match, like we did a joke about whether it was bad or not. But like, if Joe Gacy was the babyface, the crowd still would have just chanted Roddy for a few seconds and then gone quiet. Like, there's a problem. You can't reprogram people that way. Maybe the fans are trash. There's a lot of evidence they are. Maybe, I don't know. Wrestling fans are wrestling fans. But even if you think they're like really upstanding, wonderful citizens, they're gonna cheer the old dudes. It just is what it is, you know.
Well, maybe that's why they're phasing out all of these people, is so they don't have anybody left to cheer from this brand. It's just like, here you go. It's just completely new guys. You pick your favorite. Like, you don't have anyone like a Gargano or Ciampa to cheer. Like, that's the point.
That's true. But they tried to pay Gargano. So that's the thing I want to get into. There's something alarming. I don't really care, but there is something theatrical about this Johnny Gargano thing that makes me think he ain't going anywhere. It's too much. The single shot of his face when they're like, could be the last one, whatever they said.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm completely with you on this because O'Reilly and Gargano were pretty much in the same boat as far as contract and potentially leaving. O'Reilly, they had him take the fall. They're going to do this match on Tuesday. It's a cage match. This is how they write off everybody, is through a cage match, whether it's a call-up or their final bout. I mean, that's how they wrote off Cole. That was his final thing. He did a cage match against O'Reilly. This is how they write people off. Like, O'Reilly is 99.9% sure gone. The Gargano stuff, I'm with you. Way too theatrical of, hey, it could be the last time and everything. Not only that, but after the match where he cuts the promo and is like, I'll tell everybody everything on Tuesday. They did this same thing a few years ago where he's like, I'll address my future on Tuesday. And then he had like that match against the TM61 guy when he's saying like, I'm staying in it, because people thought he was going to get called up to the main roster, right? And then he had the TM61 guy interrupted him, and they did the
deep cut, Jeremy. Holy shit.
Yeah, and like he just stayed in NXT. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. It feels very similar. Now, could I see him taking time off because Candice is due in the next couple of months? Yeah, 100%. But do I think he's leaving? Not with the way they're doing this. Like, it's either he's not leaving or they have so much respect for this guy that they are just like, whatever you want to do on our television, you can just do, and then walk right to AEW because it's very
There's another one. The third option is that they're so desperate to pop a rating that they're going to just use this as a TV thing.
Mm-hmm.
That you build to it all night and a heel beats him up and that's it. I don't know, but...
Yeah, maybe.
I think he's going home for a bit, regardless. To be honest,
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. And I think it's possible, like, he might be done with NXT. Maybe he is going to the main roster. You know, maybe they sold him on that. I don't know for sure. I mean, you know, it's he's a guy that I could see doing pretty much anything. Like, it's pretty cut and dry with Kyle. With Gargano, it's not really.
Agreed. Yeah, even in terms of usage, because like if you said to me, Kyle was going up to the main roster, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't see any world in which that works.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, you guys, and you can laugh at me because let's be honest, like they would get this wrong 9 times out of 10. I look at SmackDown's depth chart. If I was booking that show and I had Johnny Gargano as a babyface, he would probably be my top babyface or second, right? Like, look at their babyface lineup. Who you got over Johnny? So there is a world in which, if you do it right, again, if you do it right, Johnny Gargano is a player on the main roster. Do I think we live in that world right now? Not really, but I guess what I'm saying is, if I was Johnny's advisor or manager, I could be won over more than if I was Kyle's, where it's just like, bro, Kyle was getting killed on the main roster. There's no way they would figure out what to do with him. NXT couldn't figure out what to do with him as a singles, you know? So, this is again a very lucky situation for me because I'm not really invested in the story. I think Johnny would inevitably have great matches in AEW, and he'll have great matches wherever if he stays in NXT, goes to Raw, SmackDown. He's a great pro wrestler. I think the actual lock is that he takes some time off regardless because, you know, it's a very logical thing to do with what's going on in his life right now.
Yep. I would agree.
That's right, man. So,
Real quick.
that was WarGames.
Real quickly, Joseph.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you, Jeremy.
I have comments. First off, Kylo says, "Can Bob please say this more like Roderick Week?"
More like Roderick Week.
Yeah. As far as Gargano, I think he's taking time off. And does that mean he's already signed somewhere and he's getting time off, or is he just going to take time off and evaluate his options? I don't know. I do want to say this because we all kind of agree O'Reilly's gone. That leaves Roderick Strong left as the last Undisputed Era. I'm not dunking on Roderick Strong. I promise you, I'm not dunking on Roderick Strong.
Okay.
I'm dunking on the booking of the Undisputed Era breakup. And just this last night should have been Team Cole against Team O'Reilly if they did it right.
Yeah.
Because Undisputed Era has always been associated with WarGames, and they could have easily gotten there with Team Cole, Team O'Reilly. I'm sure Strong and Fish would be factored in there one way or another, but that's what last night should have been had they done it right. You know, maybe Adam Cole still decides to leave and is like, yeah, I'm out of here. But if they had some sort of plan that they could have pitched Adam Cole, there's a better chance of him staying than be like, hey, here's what we got for you on the main roster. We're going to make you a manager. We have nothing left for you to do in NXT. And maybe Adam Cole still leaves, but the fact that they didn't have anything to pitch this guy on, it made it a little bit easier for him to walk out that door. If they could have said, like, this is where we're headed, this is what's going to happen with the breakup, here's what we're going to do, then we're going to transition to the main roster, and here's what we're going to do there's a better chance of him staying. I thought it was a complete, and this just once again goes to show that they have just fully changed over into NXT 2.0, and they don't give a shit about Undisputed Era and everything that faction meant to the brand and how they completely botched this breakup. It sucked that nobody from Undisputed Era was in that match last night and that they completely botched the breakup of that group.
I think that was done on purpose. I think it would have made a lot of sense to do LA Knight and Joe Gacy as like a story, whatever the fuck that would have looked like, and then have Roddy and WarGames on the original team because he is obviously more of an original than LA Knight. Mm-hmm. I think that was a conscious decision, Jeremy, frankly. I think they wanted to move completely away from the Undisputed Era guys being in that match, which is, to your point. I'll be honest, I think you're right, but I think the real answer is whenever Adam Cole dropped the world title, they probably should have just moved up. And you probably should have built TV around them as a heel act on the main roster, which we all knew was never going to happen for many, many reasons. Like, I don't know, man. That act was really over. You probably should have given that a run on Raw or SmackDown. When did Adam Cole drop the world title? 2019?
2019.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been 2 years since they debuted. You know, you could do it then. Like you can. I just to me their inability to move it up was what killed it. And we can analyze the details of the breakup, but if we're being honest, them having their whole run and splitting up in NXT was a loss to begin with. That's a failure. You know, you got to try and maximize that act on the main roster, and it's a shame they didn't. I don't think it would have gone well, but it would have with any sort of competence because, my God, I mean, what else? What more interesting could they have done? And you know, and as mentioned in the chat, that was the moment when Cole beat Bryan on SmackDown.
Yeah,
you should have accelerated things because Roddy beat AJ and Shinsuke. Yeah, I don't know what Cole and Bobby did, but like you basically set the stage for them to be a main roster act.
They were in the New Day and Viking Raiders match at Survivor Series, and New Day or Big E said like they wanted to work a program with Undisputed Era.
Okay, so this is November 2019.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what was on SmackDown at that? Just gone to Fox. Who were the big heels on SmackDown at that time? I know it's a hard question. I'm just trying to figure
out. Brock was Brock on SmackDown or Raw?
Yeah,
Brock moved to Raw.
Oh yeah, he did move.
Okay. I'm looking at Survivor Series 2019.
I know one of the answers, which is very funny.
One of them is Corbin.
Oh, it's the Fiend.
Oh yeah, the Fiend as well.
And you got Corbin because this is when Corbin does the dog food program.
Yeah. Oh right.
So what I'm basically saying is, why not just make that Adam Cole in the Undisputed Era? And as Demon Grin says, at the very least, you'd have a team of great bumpers to feed Roman. That's exactly it. I mean, that's nailed it. Like at the very least, Roman would have absolute heaters with Roddy, Kyle, and Nicole, and maybe Bobby Fish. So, you know, that's where it really went wrong. I agree with you though, Jeremy. Like in terms of if you just dig into the details, they did it wrong in NXT too. But the truth is, it never should have been split up in NXT. They should have at least given it a run on the main roster. That's just a promotional failure, unfortunately. So, WarGames. I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't watched the TV at all. I didn't expect this to be very good. I thought it was actually a good show. I thought the worst matches were fine, as we've covered before. I thought that 2 of the matches were very good to dare I say, great in the tag matches case. And the opener was successful in what it went out to achieve. I didn't find it to be a hard watch or a boring watch. The vignettes some of them were embarrassing. And, they need to, seriously, I mean, that stuff's on TV, grow up. But as a wrestling show, I can't dunk on it much, really. I actually thought the in-ring was strong. Jeremy, what did you think of NXT WarGames?
I mean, it put me to sleep, so I can't, say that it was a great show. It was fine. It was good. I will say it's good. There were the 2 matches that we talked about were fine. One sucked, and then the WarGames matches. The WarGames matches were what they were in 2021. This is just how WarGames are going to be. Neil is just completely offended by all of this. They're what they're going to be in 2021. They tried to make 2 stars. I definitely think Braun Breaker's a made guy in NXT. Yeah. I don't think they're going to screw that up. I know people are upset that he lost the title match to Ciampa. They've done enough damage control on that to where it's not as big of a deal. Should they probably just strap them up or just put another person in that position? Yes, but they've done enough damage control on that. Braun Breaker, at least in NXT, is going to be fine. Cora Jade is the one where, now you've got to have some follow-up to it. But overall, it was a good show. I can't say it was bad. Or is it going to get me to watch the television weekly? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, but that's part of that is that it's just blatantly not for me, right? I mean, it's just it's for people that like 1993 WWF, and that's fine. What would you give it out of 10, Jeremy? While we wait for Bob to come back as a show, because you give how many stars did you give Roddy and Joe Gacy? 0.25?
No, about -2.
-2.
People can be. As I said, it put you to sleep, and then it was good. Man, I was just exhausted. I had a long week. I had a very long weekend. If you guys knew about my weekend, you would understand. It wasn't it wasn't NXT's fault. It was they could have
No.
AEW could have been on. I might have fallen asleep during that. It was a long week. I would say probably like a 6.5 to 7, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
I'd be at
probably-
7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob, final thoughts on WarGames?
Yeah, it was entertaining. I like both the WarGames matches and the other stuff. Like, that tag match really stood out, and then the other two weren't super for me, but they're both like less than 10 minutes. So, yeah, I give it probably about a 7 as well. It's a pretty good show.
Definitely a show where your expectations were important. If you somehow went into this thinking it was going to be another like old school takeover, I'm not trying to be a dick here, but that's on you. Like, look at the lineup. You know what you're getting. You get what you get, I suppose. It was better than I thought it would be. And I would say, yes, 7, maybe a little bit higher, maybe 7.5 for me. Bob, out of 10?
Crazy.
Yeah, probably about 7.
I think 7's even generous. 6.5. Anything higher than a 6.5 and you're biased.
I went 4.9 stars on Grapple for Roddy Strong vs. Joe Gacy. I'm a big thing for me, to be totally honest with you, and we're going to get into this with the NWA show, which I would also give a decent review to. A big thing for me is, and chat needs to realise, I am a huge fan of mechanically sound, but ultimately boring professional wrestling that goes about 10 minutes. And, there was a lot of that. Like, the middle matches don't bother me because they're just TV. Same goes for this NWA show, which we're about to review. Stick with us, viewers, for the hottest pay-per-view of the year. NWA Hard Times 2. I have notes. I don't really want to go match for match on this because there were 25 matches. I'm going to say a match I liked, and Jeremy, you want to tell me if you also liked it. Okay, you ready?
Okay. Yep.
Opening match, Austin Aries versus Rhett Titus. Legitimately a nice match. Very much fit the description of what I just said. But it was a nice junior heavyweight match, and they had the tight wrestling exchanges, and then they did the head drop deal, and and they escalated things some. Aries still has some juice apparently as a wrestler. He took that great bump on the monkey flip. Rhett Titus is always good. I understand there's a lot of baggage with Austin Aries. Bob knows that more than most, as he's a legitimate enemy of the man, which is hilarious in so many ways. But the match was fine, right, Jeremy? The match was pretty good.
Yeah, this was probably the best match on the show.
It's weird. The first half of the show, I thought had quite a few that were decent.
Yeah,
and here's the thing: they're all they're not great matches, but they're just fine little matches. It falls off. I also like the next couple here, but yeah, I don't disagree with you necessarily. It was good.
It's that, or what are the other ones that you think?
I liked
could be the
OGK. I like their match with Stevens and Kratos. I like Colby Corino and Doug Williams, even though it got a little bit shaky at the end. And Kiera Hogan and Mickey, I thought was good too. And they were all at the front. So
yeah, I think Kiera and Mickey is the other one that I'd say would challenge Aries and Rhett Titus for match of the night.
How far do you go of an Austin Aries push in 2021?
About the same as his height.
How do you feel about the job of an announcer on a show like this, right? Because we all get it. It's difficult. You have to put over the promotion, but when the announcers multiple times say that NWA is the best roster in the world.
Dude, Mick Foley said that.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I know. But dude, when Foley comes out here and he's like, the passion, I see the passion. It's hard times. And the 20 people of you, the talent in the back, the future of this business.
Hang on a second. We need to do this. This is fair. Okay.
Yes, this is fair.
We all agree we're a family here. The NWA is not a big drawing promotion.
Right.
They definitely could have sold more tickets than that, right? I actually believe because it seems like they genuinely sent a message to fans and said they couldn't come, right?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Is there was restrictions and they couldn't put more in the building because literally every single person had their mask on in the building. Yeah. My issue with it is if you're gonna do we can't we can't pack so many people in there. They maybe don't put them all in one little section there. There's 2 sections to the side. Maybe space them out.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's so your protocols are a little bit better here because dude, that shot What are you laughing so hard at, Joseph? Just, I assume Bob's just being like,
No, just the way it was shot, because they do,
yeah,
like they shoot the audience, right? So you have, like, as you said, there's like three. How would you describe them?
like 3 sections.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's none on either of the two side sections. It's just like
So it's just like one middle section has fans that are mostly full. Like there's some empty seats and stuff, but
and they're doing this announcing where they're like, you know, like Matt Striker does it with like the majesty of the sport, and they're like, the talent we have in the alliance, you know, like they're talking about it with such grace and gravity, and there's just like 40 people just sitting right in front of you, and there's empty seat. It just looked terrible. I mean, again, it's not their fault.
So bad. No, but this is where like you got to space these people out a little bit, and then like actually mention, and maybe they did mention on the broadcast. I wasn't paying too much attention.
They did
to
mention
the announcement.
Yeah.
Okay, like. Yeah, like, but still space these people out and then say like, hey, this is why we couldn't fit but so many people in here. But the way they set it up with everybody right in that center section and 2 completely empty sections beside it was just so bad.
It was. OGK, I think they're in really good form right now. Mike Bennett is obviously motivated since he came back to wrestling. Him and Taven are a good team. This is actually the first time I've like legitimately watched JR Kratos. He's kind of cool, right? Like old school big man. I like him. Stevens is there. They're doing this dynamic where Kratos is trying to bring the edge back out of Aaron Stevens.
They've been doing this dynamic for about 10 months on television.
You told me about this a long time ago and I asked you if they're heel or babyface. I remember this vividly. They got some nice heat on Taven. Kratos is kind of a big monster. He's fun. And the angle at the end was Stevens like lost it and then got rolled up anyway, like a loser. OGK are a good team, man. They're maybe not for the Oracle of Wrestling, but they're a nice team. This match was pretty good, I thought. Jeremy, what about you?
Yeah, it was fine. Like, I do like OGK. We've talked a lot about Bennett, or not Bennett. We've talked something about Bennett, but we've talked a lot about Taven, like his role. Like he ain't like top guy, but as a good tag team wrestler who can maybe be like a mid-card champ in some promotion, like he ain't bad.
Bob, your favorite Matt Taven match?
All of them. They're all tied. It's hard to pick one.
Colby Carino, Doug Williams. This kind of ruled, I thought. Doug Williams is like really, he's pretty old now, but he's still got it upstairs. And, early on they did the deal where young Colby was a step behind on the mat. He was getting out wrestled. He had to take a shortcut, use the middle rope to cut him off. There was an awesome spot where he did a dive and Doug just fucking European uppercut him out of the air. It was an incredible visual. Made an incredible sound. The finish was weak. Didn't look good. Didn't hit the way. I mean, like legitimately, the move just didn't. Doug didn't take it the way you'd like. But the setup was weird. But the work was pretty good. Again, all of these matches, other than one that I'm about to get to, the length was reasonable, and that helps. It allowed the show to fly through, and it wasn't a chore to watch. Other than one match, which I will get to. Colby Carino, Doug Williams, Jeremy. Rule Britannia.
It was good to see Doug Williams back. I always liked him during the TNA and ROH days, and he's a good, like, solid professional wrestler. And he's aged a little bit, and some time off and wear and tear and everything. But it was good to see him back. And Colby Carino, I think he's good. Like,
he is good, yeah.
Like I don't think I'm crazy for that. Like I think there's something there with Colby Carino. I've seen some of him on the mic, and like he's fine. But like in ring, like I think he's good, and I think he'll continue to get better. See, on the mic it's tough because he's always going to get comparisons to his dad, and that's tough. Yeah. But I think there's something there with Colby Carino. I'd like to see him, and maybe the start of this with this victory over Doug Williams will be the start of something for him in NWA. But yeah, I like this match.
Have you seen his match with his dad from earlier this year?
No, everyone keeps telling me I need to watch it, so maybe I should watch it.
It's long.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very good. And if you watch maybe like the promo video before it, it's good. Very good stuff.
See, I've seen the promo. Like, I've seen the hype video for it. But I haven't seen the actual match.
I think Colby's a case of where, like, because of his size, he doesn't really jump off the page to people. But if you actually watch him, you're right. He's very, very good. He's someone that if I was a major league promotion, I would be looking at, like, is there a team you can put Colby in? You know, is there a role where you can let him be a great wrestler and let him kind of figure out the because he's, you know, I agree with you. There's something there for sure. And the story, I mean, you saw something he posted on Twitter. His story. I recommend everyone go and read that because it's a great post. Like, there's, you know, that's a great story. Kiera Hogan, Mickie James. This was a babyface match early because it was all about the respect of the, you know, the legend and the protege, that whole deal. They hugged, and Mickie James, I just think, is just such a smart pro wrestler. She had that awesome work on Kiera's arm. And, like, eventually it obviously heated up and Kiera Hogan kind of got mean, and it was just good pro wrestling. And the protege made a mistake, went up top. Mickie rolled through and got the pin, and it was like, you know, Mickey's not someone, and this, I guess to some fans this is a slight, but, like, she's not going to give you, like, 4.5-star classics, but she's, like, really difficult to have a bad match with. Like, she's just sound. She'll tell a good story every time. She has an idea of structure that most, frankly, very few wrestlers even have at this point. She's damn good at what she does still. And Kiera Hogan, you know, I think always is someone that, like, when she's on, she's real good. She's not as consistent as you'd like. I think that's why the Fire and Flavor tag team was her best run yet. But she's someone that you still think, man, like, if she can just tick that final box, figure out whatever it is, she could be a big star, I think. So I like the match, Jeremy. You mentioned it earlier. You co-signed this one, right?
Yes, I think because the finish was never in doubt, like the point was you got to make Kiera look good. And I thought Mickie did a very good job of that. And like you said, like Mickey's understanding of putting matches together and highlighting strengths was on display here. So yeah, I thought this one and the Austin Aries match would have been one of the top matches for me. Whichever one you want to pick, I can't really argue against either one.
Yes, Tyrus wrestled. I'm not going to review this match because fuck him. I will just tell you all that this match legitimately went like 15 minutes.
It was the longest match on the show, Joseph.
It was insane. I was watching it out of like some sort of bizarre intrigue as to just how bad it was, and it was worse than I ever could have imagined. I can't fathom why they're doing this. And if you're going to do it, at the very least, have the guy win in 5 minutes or lose in 5. Like, good Lord, man. It's like a rib. You're for 15 minutes.
So I'm not going to lie or pretend about this one. The match kind of started, and like I was watching it, and then the girlfriend told me I could come over, so I came over, and I missed most of the match. But like I came back, and it was still going, and like she lives 5, 6, 7 minutes away, and it was still going. I was like, wait a second, why is this match longer than literally every other match on this show?
Terrible finish, too. Just an absolute collection of shit. Just awful, awful professional wrestling. An embarrassment to the belt. An embarrassment to any promotion that intends to be national in any way, shape, or form. And it made the announcers look like buffoons. We're talking about how great the roster is. A complete fucking catastrophe. And what, honestly, the way I'm talking about it and the way Jeremy's talking about it makes it, if it convinces you it's like a so bad it's good match, no.
No,
it is not one of those. It is just shit wrestling. It's boring. It's uninspired. And this is not Sion's fault. Bless his heart. He's wrestling 15 minutes for that. I mean, good God almighty. Awful.
Complete embarrassment. No, it's definitely not it's so bad, it's good. If it was, we would joke and we would have fun and talk about it in that light. This guy sucks. He is absolutely awful. He's been awful since...
Yeah, always.
Yeah. He hasn't really ever been good, but especially since returning to NWA, he's been just god-awful in every single match he's done. He's blown up within 20 seconds into the match. He's blown up within 20 seconds of the match, and they have to go 15 minutes, Joseph!
It's crazy.
What are we doing?
I don't know. Mick Foley, car promo. I look forward to seeing him on Dynamite this week on colour commentary. Mick's promo could be most explained by saying the check cleared. And I'm good for Mick. Chris Adonis, Judias, this was very bland and strange matchmaking because Chris appears to be a heel and was working with like a big powerhouse, so sold as a babyface. it was not bad, and I'll make it clear after the last match because it was fine. Chris Adonis I actually think is like underrated in terms of what he can do, but you have to match him with there's only so much you can do with
a heel
Jedias.
versus heel dynamic definitely going to work either. Like the booking from this, like the moment they booked this, it was very weird. And like they tried, but they just had obstacles that they were just never going to overcome.
See, to me, this is where, like I said, the second half of the show is weaker. Like La Rebellion and the end was fine.
Yeah,
It's like, you got any feel on that, Jeremy? Because I watched it, like the finishing stretch was okay. I don't know. At that point, I was kind of like, this feels like a show where they could have been a lot more selective in terms of the matchmaking.
They tried really hard to make this match seem special.
They did,
like the announcers and stuff, and
didn't feel authentic.
No. I was like, all right, like it was a fine match, but like the tag team match that was on before this was a better match. So you can't tell me that like this was the best match on the show when literally an hour or so ago I saw a better tag team match.
Absolutely. Bob almost at the end, I'm sorry. Nick Aldis, Tom Latimer. Video package for this was strong. It was promising with Aldis' approach of like, let's just get down and fight. But then Latimer challenged him to a wrestling match, and Aldis just agreed, which was choice. I'll say it picked back up when he hit him with a pole driver, and it gave it some emotion again, and it gave an edge back to it. Aldis made a comeback, hit his own pole driver, and he eventually rolled him up, I think. And I thought it was fine, decent. I'm saying fine a lot. I'm sorry, but a lot of this is that it isn't incoherent or terrible. It's just solid. It had some intensity, especially when like Latimer was getting the heat. He didn't have enough though. They should have gone full. They should have just brawled around the building. Now maybe they will do that on TV on a show I will not see, and if so, I hope it's good. I think their stories got overlapped a little bit with like Latimer wanting to just out wrestle Nick, but Nick try to get revenge. They probably should have just made a choice. They kind of wanted to have their cake and eat too. I thought. Well, again, it was not a bad match by any means. It was okay, but I thought it would actually be better. Maybe that was my fault. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but I'm with you that like, especially after that video package, because I thought that was very well done. And as someone who stopped watching their television, like it was a nice catch up on everything to the feud. And I definitely thought it was going to have more like blood feud vibes. And they certainly tried in certain aspects, but then like you said, then they also just tried to have like a wrestling match. It's like probably not the time to like do that. Like honestly, I would have had Lattimore win. I would have had a brawl and I would have had Lattimore win. I would have done a story of like, I pulled you out of your game. Like you're the national treasure. You're this great wrestler, NWA World's Champion, longest reigning, however long. And like, you came in here looking to like fight and get revenge. Like that's my style. I fight and just have Lattimore beat him. Bob is just not having this NWA talk. And then just have Lattimore beat him in that. And instead they made this decision. And maybe they go back to this match, but I don't know. I don't care to see it again, honestly.
Yeah, so I didn't like see it play out in real time, but my take was maybe they should have done it where he challenged him to have a wrestling match because he wanted to see if he could beat his friend Nick. Nick catches him with a roll up, and then you shoot the angle where he leaves him laying, and then you do the blood match.
Fair.
That was my kind of when I saw this is what I kind of thought, but it was okay.
But once they did the stretcher job on all this, like
you got
that, that goes out the window.
Absolutely. Which again, Camille and Melina. I watched Melina's match with Deonna, right, at Empower.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking about how, like, you can tell that obviously physically she has limitations now because she's been wrestling for an awful long time. But Melina is like, she understands with broad strokes what this is supposed to look like, and it really allows her to produce at a level that always surprises me. I mean that with, like, it might sound slight, but I don't mean it that way. She was a good babyface in this match. She was like a desperate legend trying desperately to try and win this belt, and she kind of went nuts at the end. She had like a knee brace and she got speared out of the air with it. It was pretty cool. That was great the way that they did. They she got a shine. They got some heat. But it was a nice little wrinkle where when she made her comeback, she went after Camille's arm, right? The big power wrestler, like that was good shit, and she did it great, by the way. My God, did she? I mean, the Camille selling was okay. It's a new role for her, so it's whatever. But she did it with real intensity, and as dumb as it sounds, there's lessons to be learned in how Melina works these matches, because you can tell that like she's not moving the way she once did, but she gets it, she understands it, and it allows her to have sound matches. And this, I mean, I thought this could go many different ways when I saw it on paper. I thought it was quite good, honestly, Jeremy.
I was very worried about this match because they've done a good job with Camille and protecting her against like the right people. Like put her in there with Layla Hirsch, Thunder Rosa, she's gonna have like good matches and stuff. Melina, like you said, like I don't think Melina was ever like the best worker in the world. And look, that's not her fault. She was in an era where women were just they weren't going to give time to work anyway. So it's pretty tough to just like judge Melina as a worker given what she had to work with. Always athletic, but you know that's obviously declined over the years. And so like the fact that she knows that and she just is a good worker, that you know it definitely stood out here, because again, not her fault as far as the era she was in. I never thought much of Melina as a worker just because I hadn't seen much of her as a worker. But she did good here, and Camille, they continue to do a good job pairing her with the right people who can like protect her and still make her look very good.
There's a match with Melina. Bob might know it. There's an I Quit match she had back in the old days. Bob, do you know this match? Bob's frozen, isn't he?
He just left again.
Good Lord, man. What do we pay him for?
I don't know.
I think it was Beth Phoenix. And they get like 5 minutes, and it's like a legitimately good match. And you you think to yourself, man, if they'd have got, half the opportunity that thankfully is the case today. And I mean that as a, credit to them, not a slight to today's talent. It's like, you just never know. It's a shame, right? And speaking of that, I don't think I mentioned it, but Jazz got her, she did her thing, and that was cool for her because she's a pioneer that never really gets any love, so that was neat too. Last match, we're almost there, folks. Trevor Murdoch, Mike Knox. Look, man, they had a big lad brawl. It was whatever. My bad, sorry. Still recovering. It was spirited enough that I thought it was fun at first. It obviously reached a screeching halt when Knox got control of it because no, bless Mike, he's not doing anything particularly innovative in that sense. But they got back on the finish and they had some cool shit and a couple of false finishes, and Murdoch's finish will always be a little bit. You kind of go, oh, that's it. Yeah. But it was rough and tumble enough, and they understood their limitations. And they had a decent match. It wasn't an embarrassment by any means. Everyone laughed at it, and I understand why, because bless Mike, he's not been a player. I mean, his height of his career was 2007, 2008 SmackDown. It's difficult, but I don't think looking at this you can say oh my God, what a joke it was. He got this match. He did okay. They hung in there. They did a decent job of it. This is just where the promotion's at right now, for better or worse. Am I being too generous again, Jeremy?
I don't think so, because it was, you knew it was going to be short. They started this match with 10 minutes left on pay-per-view time, so it's okay, it's going to be pretty short here. And they did what they could with the limitations. If you were expecting this to reach any type of level past good, then I don't know. Yeah. That's on you. I was expecting this to just be perfectly fine, and that's what it was. And you move on. And the outcome, another match where the outcome really wasn't in doubt. So, and unlike the Mickey and Kiera match, I didn't have any investment into Mike Knox, and I guess they tried. I don't even know if he's coming back or anything. I have no idea what the point of just having Mike Knox in this match was. I really don't.
I just think they haven't got the bodies for it right now. I think it's. I didn't mention earlier, but Fandango and JTG are going to be a team, and it's I like Dango. Seems like a very funny personality, but I don't think I'm going out on a limb or being mean by saying I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't think they're being particularly active in this free agent market. They're kind of getting guys that are, and Cardona closed the show here because Cardona obviously is making a point of being visible everywhere because he's smart and he understands that if you're on any of these shows individually, you're going to get lost. So he's on all of these shows. He's an interesting choice for NWA champ, unironically. Like, there's definitely something to be said for him basically doing the bit where he kind of parodies the deathmatch thing and him being like the gimmick that we do, where he's like, all of the greats, Funk, Flair, Cardona, like he can do that shit. He'd do a good job with that. And then they'll probably go back to Aldis, which, I'm not even going to dunk on it because the truth is, guys, is this roster is what it is. And no matter how many times the announcers tell me it's one of the best rosters in wrestling, it isn't. And I'll be completely real. The fact this show only had one match that I would consider bad, I thought was a genuine miracle. Now, if you ask me to rate the show out of 10, it's probably like a 6, whatever, it's fine. But on paper, this looked like death. It wasn't at all. It was just a completely forgettable nothing pay-per-view, which by these expectations was a win, I thought. So there you go.
Ant says like it was a world championship match. Like, yeah, look, could they book a better world title match? 100%. But they put the title on Trevor Murdoch. They decided Mike Knox is the guy they're gonna go with. What are you gonna do? Like, it should be better. It should clearly be better. But as far as what was in front of us here and what my expectations were for this match, it was perfectly fine. The Cardona thing is, Cardona very smart. Like, he's got a big role in GCW as the outside invader. Impact, he's getting challenged for the title next month. Now NWA is going after their title as well. And Cardona is good in this role because you can play this like kind of different ways with Cardona. They're clearly positioning him as a heel based on this this little closing angle here. And I think you're right. It's going to be very similar to the GCW thing of like tradition and everything. But then like when he goes to GCW, he's basically like the NWA babyface because he's like deathmatch wrestling. No, like this belt was held by Flair and everything, like actual good wrestlers, not Nick Gage doing light tube bullshit. So, I mean, Cardona, the visibility is definitely like the biggest thing with him. Because I said this when I thought AEW might sign him, is like, this dude's got a presence, man. Like you can't deny it with his fan base and everything. Like he definitely has a presence. And NWA, with the lack of buzz that they have, literally using Mike Knox in a main event of their shows, they need something. And Cardona is the guy that they have chosen or had enough money to afford.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, it is a world championship match, but like, not really. I mean, we could be honest about what it is. Like, I like Trevor Murdoch a lot, but he's the NWA champ, and if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, then I mean, it's nothing new. Let's not pretend the NWA title was meant much in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to be honest about where the promotion's at. I said I was going to review this pay-per-view, and I did. Jeremy watched it too, which I appreciate for content's sake. But, like, I'm going to try and cover these promotions that are fake national promotions. But, like, I can only so realistically come on here and tell you guys how to rebuild the alliance. Because, I mean, look, it's in tatters. It's been, the belt was most relevant when Cody wanted to win it on All Out. And All In, sorry. And that's awesome. That was a cool moment. But, like, it's not a real thing anymore. I'm sorry. It just isn't. I will say the real takeaway from this show, and it went viral on the Twitter, was Darius Lockhart's promo.
Yes, now, but then he wasn't in the match.
He was injured, right? He said.
Yeah.
He was hurt.
Which sucks.
I actually listed his name when I was talking about like guys they should go for that would fit their product, because I know what I'm talking about, obviously. Billy, hit me up. He is like, his promo is just so fucking good. Like I saw a couple pre-tests. There's one he did on Lee Moriarty that's amazing, where he contrasts them and like he has this. His voice is too good for professional wrestling.
Yeah,
he's perfect for the studio vibe, and I mean that as a compliment. he should obviously be the NWA champion. Whether he will be or not, you know.
I think because he was supposed to be in the gauntlet, which was which we didn't talk about, but it's supposed to be in which is like their tournament qualifier thing. I feels like he's supposed to win that based on everything. Like Homicide ended up winning it, but
Oh my God, he did.
Yeah,
the pre-show.
Yeah, it was on the pre-show. Yeah, like so Homicide's part of their tournament now. Austin Aries. There's apparently 2 more spots left. Maybe if Lockhart can get in there if he's healthy enough. Whenever they, I mean, I know they shot a bunch of television yesterday and today. Like if Lockhart can get cleared, somehow get in there, whatever. It does seem like they want to build that division around him, which should probably have a better role for him than NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion.
We've seen this before. This is, Ricky Starks. Yeah. This make him the TV champ, and
right. This is what they do. Like this is what they do with these guys. Like they just they put them in a certain spot, and then Aldis is in the main event. Murdoch, they bring in Matt Cardona for this stuff. I'm with you on Lockhart. That promo was great. I listened to an interview with him. Everyone go check it out. Muscle Man Malcolm did an interview with Lockhart that came out on Saturday. He's very smart. He thinks the business in a different way, and you gotta reward guys like that. You gotta trust guys like that, not get them in whatever bullshit they're probably gonna have him end up doing.
But that's why he won't be pushed, because they basically believe that someone will sign him. And I don't work for the NWA, but I'm pretty sure they don't pay him well enough to keep him.
Yeah.
And that's the truth of it. So they will stick with guys like the ones we just mentioned that are going to be there because, of course, they are. It's like a worse version of what Impact has, where it's like, we can't push Ace Austin. His contract's up in March, Well, you can... There's only so many times you can go around with these top guys that are going to stay forever. It's a real problem. The NWA is frustrating in that you do think there's a place for them in the market.
See,
I just don't know if it's a real thing anymore.
This always baffles me on, we can't push them because they're just going to leave. How about you push them and you make the next guy? And if they go on to do greater things elsewhere, then fine. You can come back and acknowledge that of like, hey, you know what? They did these great things in AEW, wherever, like here, they did cool things here too. And then this guy beat him. And like you can elevate through that. Like this is kind of what ROH was doing until they had so many missteps. But like this is the way to do it. Like, but instead they're just gonna keep kind of retreading the same people or using people that they know aren't gonna end up signing anywhere because they're in this position for a reason. And that doesn't inspire anybody.
No, I can't disagree. I don't know. There was a time in my life, Jeremy, where I would get really fired up and tell you the road to redemption for the National Wrestling Alliance, but at this point, I don't know. They don't seem to really
straight up the middle, Joseph.
Yeah, that's the thing. Ironically, they don't seem to have any interest in moving up at all. Because like Mike Knox is a great example. And the reason I reviewed his match that way, and the reason I wasn't mean and you wasn't mean, is because, like, bless Mike Knox, right? It's not his fault. But you tell your audience with your decision making what your kind of, your perspective is. And unfortunately, and I don't think it's either their fault, it's just the reality of the industry. When you say our pay-per-view main event is Trevor Murdoch versus Mike Knox, I'm sorry, but you send a clear message to the fan that watches the other promotions but not yours, and you basically tell them that you're not in the game. And there is evidence that promotions that do better also suffer. I mean, if you look at MLW, for all of their flaws, Hammerstone and Jacob Fatu is a real match.
Yeah.
No one give a shit. So there is a real, and we've talked about this before, there is increasing evidence, Jeremy, that people just don't care about these other promotions. And they will have their audience that will stick with them forever, and that's it. And like, there's no up, there's no down. And that's sad, but I think there's truth to it. However, I also think there's truth to the reality that NWA isn't exactly swinging for the fences when they put out stuff like this. I credit the talent and the agents or whoever for making the most of what this show was. I thought they all did a good job, other than the obvious. And I thought, if you spent your money on it, it was a decent show and you probably had fun. But
you spent money on it. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's, we have to be honest about it. The show ended and it had the same hype it had going in. None.
Yeah.
And if you want to do that forever, then fine. I think there's evidence right now in the industry, you don't have to look very far, that just existing is not really not sustainable, because eventually, that will catch up with you. But I'll be honest with you, man, I'm a little bit worried about professional wrestling. And I think AEW's success conceals a lot of the industry struggles right now. I've been guilty of this myself, where you kind of go, man, isn't wrestling fun? And it's like, yeah, it's pretty fun as a consumer. You get to watch whatever you want to watch, but there is not many a hot territory right now, Jeremy. Let me tell you, there's not many folks popping the territory and filling buildings. And, I watch this show because I consider it to be a responsibility of sorts to review these shows, but no one else talked about this show. Finding any opinions on this show was an absolute challenge. And that's alarming to me, because it was not 2 years ago they did Hard Times 1, and that show had relative buzz.
Yeah.
A lot of it, no. Relative to this, it was WrestleMania. And that's scary, because if they're losing fans from that base, that is not good. But that's where I'm at right now. I don't know.
I was at Crockett Cup when it was in North Carolina. I guess it was the last one at this point. I was at that show, and that had a ton of buzz. That felt like a very big show. And Demon Grin said earlier of when we were talking about the attendance, if it was hotter, they just would have run elsewhere. Look, they did well in St. Louis. I think they sold out that for NWA 73. So they have some buzz some places. Could they have gone to a different arena in Atlanta or Georgia and sold it out with 300, 400 people? I don't know. It doesn't feel like it, because NWA 73 felt like more of a celebration, and you had Empower the night before. It felt like there was some type of celebration with that. And it was their first show back, their first big pay-per-view back from everything. At least I think it was. No, it wasn't. They ran some, but that was at the studio as well, whatever that show was. But NWA 73, my point is, felt like some type of celebration. This one just felt like, all right, we've just booked this pay-per-view and we got to put matches on it. So here we go. And that's what it was. So I don't know if they could have gone elsewhere and drawn a bigger house. Maybe, but would it have been as cost effective for them paying for a different arena? I don't know. I'm sure they get a good deal on GPB Studios because they run there all the time. And, it's a drawback that they had to limit fans to capacity, but maybe they actually made money on this show. Who knows? But regardless, they're in a tough situation that they've put themselves in for a number of reasons, but they're in a tough situation, and I don't know if it's possible to get out of it. I really don't know if it's possible.
There is stuff they do, to be totally honest, that I have a strange appreciation for, in the sense that, obviously, with the one particular, idiot excluded, it does pop me that there's just these big burly fuckers on their roster that they're being, let's be honest, everyone books for star ratings now, and they're just, they're kind of harking back to the good old days in some ways. But then you have to also, I'm not one of the only people in the world that will appreciate that. No one that watches wrestling now gives a shit about any of that.
Yeah, but when you do that kind of stuff, this is where you've gotta telling stories here, and they don't do any of that. I'm fine if their roster isn't going to be match quality kings or anything here, but if you're not going to do that, you got to find some type of investment with this stuff. And Trevor Murdoch, Mike Knox shooting one angle that didn't even air on your television. Like,
here's my problem: is that angle they shot was like an old school wrestling angle, and I saw it on Twitter. And the match, the reason I like, to me, that's the sort of match that you'd have done on like the Clash of Champions. It's like, it's not like good, but oh, fuck it, it's fine. But it's like, even if you're right, yes, you could tell better stories, but let's be really honest about it. What's the first way to actually get buzz if you're not AEW or WWE? Have matches that people tweet about. Have matches that people want to see. They are not on TBS, folks. You know, there are no kids out there watching on TV going, "Oh, Mike Knox is big." You know, I think there's a misunderstanding of what the audience is. Let's be honest about this. If you aren't top two, you need to look at AEW and say, okay, our fans are probably going to be their fans. What percentage of their fans can we attract to our promotion? And how do you do that? Well, there's probably something to be said for a really serious promotion. Because there are some AEW fans that probably eye roll some of the comedy stuff. I don't, you don't, but there's probably some. Okay, cool. There is no way that fan also is going to pop for the fact that you've got Mike Knox in the main event. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. You need to have an identity, but it can't be completely at odds with where the industry is trending. It just can't. I'm sorry. Like, you can't. You know, if Corgan's just booking the pot himself, then God bless. God, I have no problem with that. But if he thinks it's going to grow like this, I'm sorry. It's, you know, you have to look at the industry. You can't just book in a vacuum because that's what you remember it like. It's I don't know, man. You know, JJ's mentioning Impact, and Impact's got the same problem where they don't know what they are, and it's a shame. And they basically book like WWE with worse talent in a smaller room, which is a choice. You know, Ring of Honor had a clear identity, and they're gone. So, rest in peace, professional wrestling.
I have a statement from Robert O'Neill regarding his appearance on today's show. Robert O'Neill says, "All right, fuck this. I'm going to Best Buy and getting a range extender for my Wi-Fi. Thanks for having me on today, guys. Sorry my internet sucks shit."
Wow. That's embarrassing. Find him. You know, I paid that sorry piece of shit today.
I think we're going to suspend O'Neill for Wednesday's show. And in O'Neill's place for Wednesday for the pre-Dynamite show will be Connor Casey from Comic Book. He'll be joining us.
He's expensive
instead of Robert O'Neill. I mean, we got the budget. You know, you see all those super chats that came in on Thursday, Joseph? We're rolling in it right now.
Okay, I'm fired up right now because there's been some great comments in the chat. Firstly, Dion said, if Joe likes your promotion, 9 times out of 10 it's dying. And that is 100% true. So I want to give credit to that. I also want to give credit to Ant, who said, popping because Joe said he's given up talking about how to save NWA, and here it is, factual. Yeah. So JJ has responded to his enemies, and he says, worst talent, Machine Gun Carl Anderson, Chris Bay, Mickey James, and Tasha Steeles. One of those 4 people was on this show. So, you know.
I think he means worse talent than
WWE. Yeah, not than NWA. They've got much better talent than NWA. But what I'm saying is they do Raw or SmackDown, but in a small room with worse talent than Raw and SmackDown does.
Right.
And there's good on the show. I'm not saying it's worse than those shows. I'm just saying it's nowhere near singular enough to be like, you have to watch Impact. You know, they're reinventing the wheel. No, they're not. They're just...
fuck. Joel Pearl's in the chat. No, Joel. He's not suspended for Thursday's show. He's suspended for Wednesday's show. He'll still be on tomorrow's show with Steven Jensen, where we preview ROH Final Battle, the Battle of Finality, end of an era of honor era.
That's making me so sad, all that stuff. It's really messed me up, that has, Jeremy. I'm going to be honest with you, man.
Has it?
It actually has a lot, because I think you know this. I'm a very aggressively emotional human being. And when it first happened, I was my brother, and I was just like, well, you know, We all saw it coming, right? Promotion's dead. And then I came on these shows, and I was like, well, at least we got ROH for 19 years, And then just for the last 2 weeks, I've just been watching Ring of Honor matches, and it's just sad. I can't pretend it hasn't bummed me out. Like, that promotion is very, there's a lot of ups and especially recently some downs, but it's at least like had an identity and stood for something for so long, And it's a shame that Gresham just seemed to be right in the ship. And the fact that the whole show promotion is just like, yeah, it seems like it's dead, but let's have a good last show. Makes me sad. Bums me out, to be honest.
Very fair. Well, we're going to preview it tomorrow, Joseph. Get ready to be bummed out more.
Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to the show.
Are we doing a classic match watch along? I think we're only going to do one because I feel like we're going to do kind of heavy final battle discussion.
That's fine. I mean, the card looks pretty good, right? Not nothing. Yeah. It isn't like blow away, but we'll get into that tomorrow. It's just, I think the Ring of Honor stuff, it kind of brings a sense of like finality to the conversation we're having about NWA, and it's like, listen, guys, I could be wrong. At some point in the next 2 months, some billionaire could be like, yeah, I've been an Honor Club subscriber for 10 years. I'm fired up. Let's buy it. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. Right now, it looks like this thing's just going to fade away. And that is another reminder of what I'm getting at when I say I think you should not be fooled by the discourse, I get it, and it's more accessible. If you're a wrestling fan, it's great because there's so much on. And like Steven Jensen's a great example of it because he watches so much IWTV stuff, which once upon a time wasn't that accessible. So it's awesome. But in terms of true options on a national scale, like if you don't like WWE as much as I don't like it right now, God, is it grim. It really is. And what makes it worse is, Jeremy, is WWE is not just hiring everyone. I mean, they're now firing everyone. And I'll be honest, for a long time I scoffed at the whole, like, AEW can't hire everyone, but they actually can't hire everyone. And I never realized how real that would be because I didn't realize WWE was going to continue to fire 10 wrestlers a month. Didn't think that was going to be the case. I'm looking at their roster, and it's like, well, you got to add Swerve, Keith Lee, Athena, Mia Yim, Tegan. And it's like, all right, cool. God forbid, when the next releases come around. And it's like, where do we go here, man? There is no third promotion. Because GCW is the third promotion in terms of point. But like, you're not going to, sign a big contract with GCW. That's not how they work. That's why they're the third promotion, because they're not like that. It's just Tony Khan can only, he can only steer so many of these fellas to safety, unfortunately. And it's alarming. I know this is grim. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm being honest. This is
our guy, Joseph, Freddie Prinze Jr., he's going to save it. He's going to save it all.
I'm intrigued by what he intends to do because the way that he obviously does wrestling is very TV. So it's like, what would his indie look like, Yeah. Do you remember when Gabe did Evolve and initially there was always like backstage vignettes and stuff? Did you ever see that stuff?
No.
Oh, bless his heart. Oh, it was like the Ultimate Fighter. It was weird. The Evolve was a weird promotion. Did you ever watch any Evolve, Jeremy?
Yeah.
It was
mainly just like match stuff though. Did I follow like the angle stuff? No, not really. But if there was like a good match and whatnot, I'd seek it out.
You'll be shocked to know that I began to watch it close to him. Roderick Strong went over there, and there was a lot of good there, but it was just strange because it always seemed like there was like doom like lingering over it. And then obviously for the last couple of years of its existence, it became like WWE guys would just work their shows. So anyway, that's the Evolve podcast here and coming to an end.
That's going to be our next look back. We're just going to start doing classic Evolve stuff.
I'd have to subscribe to the network. Speaking of such, someone send me. I want everyone to buy me WWE Network gift cards so I can watch their content without feeling like a bootlicker. So for Christmas, I would like approximately 150 WWE Network gift cards. I don't know how you actually send those. Did you know I paid these fucking grinners today, Jeremy? paid them. Felt like filth for doing so. Watching them numbers go to Bob's account, I've never felt so disgusted in all my life. And then he comes on here and he stinks up the joint, you know? Show ends up with me talking about Evolve. It's brutal.
Can't believe they get paid.
I can't.
How terrible. Off of our hard work too.
I know.
You know? Like,
they come in, we pop the territory, we build it up, draw some great houses, and then they go. I mean, look, Shoot's fair enough, right? Like he's he's invested in the product.
Yes.
The Oracle of Wrestling. I mean, he comes on and just upsets the chat every week and tells them their favorite wrestlers suck. You know? No, the Oracle's. I mean, you did some stuff for Oracle on Friday. He's incredible.
I love Oracle.
Yeah, he's tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Now, Bob, on the other hand,
he sucks.
Yeah, we need to inquire about Bob's pay.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go 25 Oracle, 25 Shoot. And then I would say 40 me, 10 Bob. Fair?
That seems fair.
I agree. Okay. Do we have any other statements?
You should honestly you can go 5 Bob and then 5 me. You can kick me in.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I still pop in every now and again.
You talk about as much as Bob does on the platform.
Yeah.
Even though you're on for 6 hours less. That's fair. It does rule that you legitimately spoke more on the grin in your 30 minutes than Bob did in 3.5 hours or 2.5 hours. Seems bad. Oracle was great on Friday. We got a little bit. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember the show too well because I was very, very ill. But we got a little bit hate. We kind of hated on the fleet on Friday.
I missed all of that.
Yeah, we got a little bit sinister. I think I threatened to do something very bad.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was poorly. Oracle does not bury Roderick Strong because he knows about professional wrestling. He would never do that. It's not his game, pal. Just I'm not happy about this. Dion is one of the league leaders in the burying Roddy Strong thing. You encouraged them today. You encouraged them with the slam.
I didn't say Roddy was the problem in that match. I said if you had a bad match with Roddy,
I just feel bad for Joe, man. Bless his heart. Maybe he pitched it, but that gimmick is just.
I'm sure he'll say he'll pitched it, and then once he's outside, he'll be like, "No, that was just."
Yeah, feels like the kind of gimmick that could just end at any moment, and it would just be like, "Well, we tried,"
It got a New York Times article or New York Post article, one of the two, one of those New York outlets.
That makes it good then.
Yeah.
I love the thing where we base if you say something sucks, and it was hang on a second. 4 Door Soup says Roddy was the problem in that match. Calm down, okay? Now, if you say something sucks in AEW, people will be like, well, actually, did the highest quarter hour in November, so. But if you come on here and just go, Roman Reigns sucks now, people are like, yeah, fuck him.
Oh, you know why I knew it really left today? Why he cowered out? It's because Brock didn't pop the rating at all for SmackDown. No one gave a shit that Brock was back.
They could do Sylvester Stallone versus Arnold Schwarzenegger in a steel cage, and they would do 2.1 million. But the thing is, credit to it, it's steady, right? It literally doesn't move. Cena got it up for a week, but it stays where it is. It's fine. SmackDown's successful, right? Rating never goes down, really down. It just sort of treads along, and people apparently like it. Freddie Prinze doesn't like it.
Freddie Prinze is going to save wrestling.
He might, honestly.
Yeah.
He might. He could do it. I mean, imagine him buying Ring of Honor and just imagine how much Ring of Honor fans would hate his wrestling. He's writing promos for Jonathan Gresham.
He's not going to write a promo for Gresham.
No, he's got enough self-awareness to know what he's bad at, so he would obviously make me the head booker. I wonder if I have to fly to LA for that.
Probably.
I think I'd be good in LA. I think my skin would definitely hold up well. You excited for Christmas, Jeremy?
Is this what we're talking about now? Good callback. I don't know. Yeah. Sure.
You not a big Christmas guy?
No, I love Christmas. It doesn't feel like it's here. I gotta buy people gifts. You see the gift I'm getting you?
Hang on a second. You have not bought any gifts?
No, I bought some gifts. I gotta buy other gifts.
Brother, it's the 6th for December.
I know.
I have gifts done by August 12th.
Oh, see, I'm very late of like, I'll do it like the week before and just hope for the best.
Oh, that's bad, man.
Typically works out.
You gotta be careful with that.
Yeah.
Good question here, 4-door soup. Have you guys watched Halloween Kills?
No, I haven't.
You know, Top Dollar comes up in the chat. Top Dollar. I'm gonna be very honest with you all. There is a chance that he would fucking rule in NWA. Yeah. And he would like cut good promos and people. No one would see it. But we'd put it over every couple years.
Joseph, let's get out of here. I need dinner and stuff.
Like you play one of the funny videos. So, you know. Okay.
Who gives a fuck?
Good stuff. All right. See you all tomorrow.
Knew I had to go with Roddy. Do you want to plug anything, Joseph?
Sign up. LateNightGrin.com. Just $1. I actually need everyone to sign up for that because I now pay free lunatics as well as myself, which is bad. Seems bad. And, you know, the support is appreciated. I often say there's no money in this game. Insane to me that these people fund us enough that I can, like, cut these idiots in. It's awesome. Like, seriously, like, I joke about it a lot, and there's a lot of people doing better than me because of many reasons, and there's a lot of people doing better. But, like, I do appreciate there's a lot of people would love to have the platform we have, Jeremy.
Yes.
You know, and when we go and do guest spots on other shows, it is so awesome to see the people follow us over there. And, you know, maybe we're not doing 15,000 views or anything, but, I mean, I don't really want to do that. You know, like, fuck it. You know, our audience is great, and they get our humor, and they get involved in our bits, and they have fun. And I'm thankful for it. I mean, it's not Thanksgiving anymore, but it did dawn on me today when I was looking at the Patreon, and I was like, look, we're not killing it by wrestling Patreon standards, but we're probably in a high percentage in terms of, like, I imagine it's a lot lower than us. And the fact that I can, you know, give myself some and give the others some, it's like, it's pretty cool. Yeah, the chat obviously sucks, but other than, you know, it's just, it's neat. So if you want to be involved in that, I can promise it is worthwhile. You only have to sign up for $1, no tears. You get a 4-hour podcast every week. That was not 4 hours this week because I nearly vomited on the air, which was bad. We're going to start a show soon, a daily show called Ring of Roderick, in which Oracle and I watch 15 hours of Roderick Strong matches every day. So you can sign up for that. That's not happening. That's false advertisement. But yeah, I mean, that's my only plug. Don't follow me on Twitter. I hate Twitter.
Fair. We'll be back tomorrow talking Ring of Honor with Jensen and O'Neill. We'll be back Wednesday talking AEW and whatever else the news is with Connor Casey. And then Thursday is the main show. And then we have the post show. I hope, fingers crossed, everything booked, plans don't change. I hope to have a good announcement Thursday, probably on the main show. So I hope to have a good announcement there. I do have another announcement. Probably next Monday, my interview with Vo Williams will air on this channel. If you watched Raw last week, 1, sorry to hear that. 2, you may have noticed a new theme song that kicked off Raw. It was called Greatness, and it was done by Vo Williams, and I interviewed him today, and that will air next week. Tremendous guy. Great guy. Really, really fun talking to him, but he does the new theme song for Raw. So that'll be on the channel next week. I have other interviews scheduled throughout this week that'll be on the channel. Again, one big one that I'm hoping I can officially, because I ain't announcing shit until I get it in the can, because I'm always worried that that stuff will fall through. But I hope on Thursday I have a good announcement for everybody on the main show. And if I don't mention anything about an announcement on the main show, just assume that it fell through.
Just assume that Wyndham will be on Winter is Coming instead.
Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys. We will catch y'all tomorrow on the channel, tomorrow on Twitch, twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. I'm gonna kick the shit out of Joel Pearl in some SmackDown vs. Raw GM mode. And yeah, we'll catch y'all then. Do you want to play another clip, Joseph? What clip do you want me to play? We'll
Cell
play.
Boy.
Let's go.
Oh boy.
No.
So we got a real big problem. Somebody keeps fucking me.